taking umbrage. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. A choice we're going to get it on. Craig Shoemaker back in studio. Good to see you, my friend.
You too.
Heather Pasternak's going to be doing news. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Heather's got a residency over at Jimmy Kimmel Live in Vegas, and also works as a writer on Funny You Should Ask as well.
That's right.
Right, stand up, going strong there. And Craig's got dates all over the place, and we'll give you some plugs there. Still standing. Sorry, still standing up with Craig Shoemaker. As
I have a new
That's the
podcast
Pod.
now too. I just started. It's called "My Wife Joined a Cult."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
seriously, I just started this.
I like it.
Yeah.
So that's out as well.
It will be. Yeah.
Pechanga Resort and Casino, Temecula. That's coming up July 18th, 19th. Mic Drop Comedy Club in San Diego. And then the Ice House, beautifully remodeled Ice House out here on July 20th. So lots to get into around here. First, a funny thing, when I was doing a little due diligence on you, Heather, yesterday.
Uh-oh.
I said Pasternak. Pasternak. That's an interesting and unique name, but I do know a Pasternak. I know a Dan Pasternak.
Yes.
And I said, it's an old friend of me and Jimmy Kimmel's is Dan Pasternak. And then I said, we'll see if she's related to Dan Pasternak. And they said, well, or I thought, Dan's a fair bit older than you are.
Yeah.
And then someone went online and said, well, her husband is named Dan.
Oh,
and I
that's so
said,
funny.
oh, she married Dan Pasternak. And it's
Oh,
like,
my
no,
gosh.
he doesn't go by Pasternak. And I'm like, all right, so what's happening right now?
Wow.
So your husband's name is Dan.
It would have been really confusing if he took my name. That would be really fashion forward.
Yeah. Your husband's, you didn't take his
I
name.
didn't.
And his last name is...
His last name is Fauci, but it's P-F-A-U, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's confusing. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm
no.
not,
Yeah. gotta
No.
drop
I'm not
that.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like an Asian sneeze.
Yeah, he's not Asian even, so
That's
it's like people
now
are very confused.
even
Yeah.
more confusion. So when they were like, "Oh, her husband's name is Dan," I was like, "Oh, okay, she married Dan Pasternak." No,
Not yet. There's still time.
And you
though.
don't do the hyphen?
but you know the
Not a hyphen
Pasternak.
girl.
You know Dan Pasternak,
People always ask me if I know him. I can't remember if I've ever met him or I don't know.
and not related.
Not that I know of, but it would be nice, man. I hear nepotism is alive and well.
I don't know how much juice Dan has.
Nothing
He's
left?
looking for your juice.
Oh,
at
okay.
this
He may
point.
be.
I just hope
hitching
he's
his-
given us a good name. That's all I care
He
about.
may be hitching his wagon to your team.
Exactly.
So, all right, lots to get into today. First, slight obsession with waste, and then here's my waste. Here's it. I, for the second time in under a calendar year, have brought Indian food back to L.A. from Long Island.
Whoa.
Because you can't find it around here.
No, because I ate Indian food on Long Island, or ordered it from Long Island, and I can't throw away food.
Oh.
The same way. It's like we were brought up in the Depression.
I brought
Yeah.
Indian food 2 times now from Long Island.
And flew with this in the cabin.
Yes,
So other people are around you.
In my
it's a good way to
backpack.
clear people
and then
out.
I've eaten that Indian food the last 3 days. Now it's starting to turn.
Yeah.
And so last night was my last brush with the Indian food, but I've now brought Indian food back. I played Governors, which is in the middle of Long Island.
Yeah.
Ordered Indian food, took it back to Manhattan, ate it in Manhattan, and in Dr. Drew's condo, put it in the refrigerator, and the following day packed it up in my backpack and took it back
That
to
is
L.A. and
commitment.
has eaten it 3 days in a
That's
row
a guy
in
with
L.A.
kids right there.
And I never get sick. But I
I'm the
was
same way.
wondering last night if this stuff was starting to turn.
Do you know who's worse than this? Than you? I'm the same way, and I just peel away or wash away whatever it is. You know?
Yeah, if you see it, you got a piece of cheese and it's got some fur on it, just cut the fur off and then eat it.
or mold.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the worst is with kid food too, because it's like I don't even want this mac and cheese and these calories, but I'm not just going to leave them there. You're just
can't leave
cleaning
it
up
there.
at
Yes.
that point.
Yes.
And mold is penicillin. That's what I tell myself
Whoa.
anyway.
Right.
So I'm having penicillin.
So- Yeah.
There's a guy, Bob Goen. Do you remember him? He used to host Entertainment Tonight.
Yes, Bob Goen.
He's
yes.
so bad. When I was married to my wife, he's so bad. He's worse than us. So I would see.
Hold on. Can you do worse than Indian food from Long Island
pretty-
back to Malibu, California?
He's pretty. He eats salmonella straight up. I mean,
Did he play professional football?
No, he was on Entertainment Tonight. But we had a thing in our house.
Oh, Golick is who I'm thinking
If a
of,
meat
Bob
was really
Golick.
bad, we call it BBG, Beyond Bob Goen.
Oh, wow.
That's
So
when it's
in
really
the-
bad.
Now, my waste is not limited to just food and protein. It's a cosmic waste that I don't like, and so I have an obsession with our electronic freeway signs and how we waste the electronic freeway signs because it just says click it or ticket, which everyone already has their seatbelt on, and if you don't, just as an experiment, and I'll do it every once in a while. As you're passing under the freeway sign that says click it or ticket, undo your seatbelt and watch your car react. Watch your car have a conniption fit that you took your seatbelt off.
That's your reminder.
That's your reminder.
Yes, you don't need this. There's nobody who's driving on and go, I forgot.
It's built into the dash of the car.
Right.
So it's completely redundant, and it's an insane waste.
So what should it say? Like, don't forget the Indian food in your back seat.
Listen, I've said it could say floss.
Right.
It could say anything.
That's a good one.
Now, what there should be a campaign about turning right on a red. I cannot tell you how many people just sit at a red and nothing's happening.
Okay, but it is their right to sit, right? Like you don't have to make a right on red. It's an option.
No.
You don't have to drive forward when the light turns green. It's an option.
But you do.
I say make it a command.
No, I mean, this is an interesting.
This
is going to be a tough relationship for us, Heather. This is going to be very difficult.
No, I'm a
this is
right
going to
on
be a very
red
difficult
girl.
relationship
I'm a
for us.
California girl.
But all right, well, let me ask. It's interesting. Is it an option or is it a directive? You know.
I always thought it was an option. That's why I was curious about the clarifying point.
You turn right on red when it is safe to turn right on red. So when you're leaving the driveway of a Home Depot, you're not obligated to burst out into the street. But you are under a social obligation to turn when it's safe to turn to those who are waiting behind you. Okay. And then you could go, well, there is no law that says, but I'd go, I don't know what the statute is, but I would say that just when it's clear to turn, you should turn because there's people gathering behind you.
That's what the sign should say. The sign should say just that.
Just turn.
If it's clear to turn, then turn.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody knows it. Everyone sits there. And also, something that I kind of got from going to being in New York, which is there are plenty of horrible intersections in this area.
Yeah.
And there's, sunset goes down to PCH and it's 5 PM and the traffic goes all the way back up the hill, like past the synagogue, and the person who's in front doesn't know they can turn right, and they just sit there and they have their own lane to turn into, but they still don't do it. And what I noticed in New York is not at all times of the day, but at certain times of the day, all of a sudden, all the traffic cops just sort of appear. And I don't mean cops, but the ones that are waving everyone around. Like, why don't we have a handful of people with reflective vests, LAPD traffic officers, who at 5 o'clock every day show up at these places that are these clogged arteries and just go, every day you're here from 3:30 to 7 in the evening, and you're telling the brain dead fucking retard moron who will not turn right on a red, you are moving it along. Like, you are doing it. It seems pretty doable.
Perfect job for the homeless.
That's a good point.
Here you go, homeless, and you can get a couple quarters while they're making their right. You can get some money and you're making money from doing that job.
I've said for 30 years, give the homeless cop uniforms and make it look like we have a really strong police presence out there. And every once in a while, someone go, what's that cop doing throwing up into that dumpster? I don't know.
Too many donuts.
Too many donuts. Yeah. So we have... I'll play you. I got another people are inundating me with Gavin Newsom clips because I grilled Newsom for a second time, and it got up and it made the rounds on the internet.
Oh yeah, that was great. And my mother flipped out. She loves you. She can't believe I'm on your. I've done a million shows. I told her I was doing this one. She said, "Oh, he's a modern day Will Rogers, Craig." That's what she says. He's a modern day Will.
Jesus,
my mother is gonna flip when she sees this. She watched that clip. She sent me the clip. My mom sends me stuff all the time.
God love her.
Yeah.
So Newsom was in here 10 years ago. I grilled him on a bunch of stuff. He had no answers, and he's a sociopath. And he's also he sounds like an insane person the way he answers certain questions. But as I was driving here, I passed the electronic freeway sign once again, which did not say click it or ticket. It said extreme heat, drink water.
That feels like a good one.
I looked down. No. I looked down at my dash, and it said 68 degrees.
Oh.
Number one. So I don't think that constitutes extreme heat. Now, I was on the 10 in Santa Monica, but so is that sign. So I don't know why it's on that sign. It was in the high 60s, number one. Number two, in terms of drinking water, people pretty much figure that one out. I would say, and it's another fucking waste of space. It doesn't.
I think most people are dehydrated, though. Like, don't you need someone's mom to just tell you all the time, like, drink water?
Do you think so?
I think so. I could use a reminder. I'm drinking coffee. I didn't bring a water.
Now you are
very
a mom,
good. So
you think? Hold on. You think most people are dehydrated?
I think most people are dehydrated, and they might not know it, or they're just too lazy. I mean, nobody drinks the amount of water they're supposed
historically, if we've been dehydrated, like throughout time, or is it just? Is this new?
Oh, that's a good question. Like
100 years. Well, let's say 100 years ago, were we dehydrated?
Well, they didn't have other options. They only had water as an option back then. They didn't have sodas.
Or maybe water was
like
hard to get to, and maybe then even more.
So 100 years ago, we were dehydrated.
I would say so, yeah. Why not?
And so maybe we're more dehydrated now?
I think people used to think, like, wine, it's water, right? Like, I think we have a lot more information about what's hydrating now.
So we're not as dehydrated.
I hope not. I mean, I personally have had 2 coffees and not enough water today, so maybe. But I think there are different types of body types. There are some people who never feel like they need water. You know, like there are different kinds of people where it's some people who like don't sweat, like that kind of stuff, you know? Where are you on the spectrum? How's your hydration?
Fine, I think. So it's a righteous sign move, you think?
I think it's up there with
tell people
floss.
to drink water.
I think it's like floss. Not people don't do it as much as they should.
They should definitely floss more.
So this is a place for reminders.
So you think it's reminding people to take a sip of water?
I feel like if I saw that sign, I might hit my water bottle if it was there.
But you're sitting in an air-conditioned car, right?
Right.
So how much dehydration do you think is going on?
I mean, we probably wouldn't die without that sign, I would say.
I just think that signs should be like common sense, you know, like, hey, you with the mask on driving alone in a car. That would be something they should say. You're an idiot.
Right.
Well,
like reminders about that.
I have so there's a kind of insane Newsom answer about traffic because I was hitting him on traffic. Mm-hmm. Like LA's traffic is bad. It's the worst in the world. Like, what about it? Could we get something going here? And he gave. I'll play you the clip because it may be him at his most insane in the answer department. Yes. No right-hand turns. So there's no awareness campaign that it's legal to turn right on a red, which would alleviate tons of traffic in Los Angeles and in California. There's no. If you can clear it, you can steer it, clear it. That doesn't exist. And we do nothing to inform the citizens of this. Now, we have tons of campaigns like Click It or Ticket.
Yeah? I know you don't like that?
Explain to me why it's necessary.
It's you know what?
Do you think it's necessary?
I can't even go back to the origins of it. It's a good point.
I can go back to it.
You're passionate about this. This is good.
I'm passionate about not wasting everyone's time and money.
When was that law established?
In 1976.
All right. I was 2 years old.
Cars that were built
every car that was built came with a placard that lit up and a chime that went off. Try to get in your car and try not to click your seatbelt and see if there's not a buzzer going off.
Yes.
So if we have a buzzer going off inside of the car,
yes.
Why the electronic campaign outside of the car?
Legitimate. Why didn't you run for mayor?
90.
I mean, why? You seriously? It's time for you to put your name on the ballot.
96.6% of people in California wear their seatbelt.
Yeah, it's good.
Do we still need the campaign?
Well, it's, I mean, for the 3.5% or so,
let's
yes.
just say everyone graduated.
We believe in, 100% compliance.
No.
Save lives.
If everyone graduated, virtually everyone graduated from high school, we wouldn't need a big campaign about graduating
So the fear
high
is if you
school.
stop the campaign, then those stats drop significantly.
They can't.
And
It's built into every car. You can't forget. You can't drive your car.
Are there a few exceptions?
No.
Is there not one car that doesn't have that
Cars that were built pre-1976.
Not one comes out. There's not one.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah,
There you-
Peugeot said fuck cafe standards and the law and OSHA and everything else, and they just made their own car.
Really?
Yeah, like that would work. Like you would allow one manufacturer to do away with the
sign is for Peugeot drivers only.
He's a fucking retard, but keep playing it. And but what happened, Joe, to the whole part about UR traffic? I don't know what happened to that.
So I saw a billboard
hold
out.
on. Didn't you say this thing was 25 seconds long?
We've got that one. We've got that one as well.
Oh, is that a separate thing? Is it on the list?
Yes, it's on the list, and
So I saw a
Traffic,
billboard out on the
seatbelt.
405 says
it's queued up
Hold on.
if you'd like it.
All right, where's it on this list? All right, it's just under traffic. All right, we'll continue it. We'll figure it out.
So I saw a billboard out on the 405 says you're not stuck in traffic.
Oh, here
You're
it
thinking,
is.
How the hell? What does that mean? It says you are traffic, which I kind of like.
Wait a second. All right, now we're playing another clip. Oh, let's finish the first. We'll finish the first one, right? Is that, or am I going nuts?
The first clip was over, and this is the other clip we have about traffic.
Oh, it ended right when I talked? What am I confused? Nah, Dawson's shaking his head. What's going on, Dawson?
Okay.
What happened?
I think there's still some of that
We
clip
have more.
left.
Would you like to finish the first clip?
I would. I'm just curious how it's marked on my page. That's all.
People in California wear their seatbelt.
Yeah, it's good.
Everyone graduated. Virtually everyone graduated from high school. We wouldn't need a big campaign about graduating
So the fear
high
is if you
school.
stop the campaign, then those stats drop significantly.
They can't.
And we'll
It's
forget.
built into every car. You can't forget. You can't drive your car.
Are there a few exceptions?
No.
Is there not one car that doesn't have that
Cars that were
knowing
built
thing?
pre-1976.
Not one comes out. There's not one.
The Gremlin.
There you go.
From
See, there are.
1974.
What about all those Gremlin drivers?
Look, it's stupid. We're stupid.
Oh, okay. So that's the first one, and then we have a second traffic clip. Okay.
So I saw a billboard out on the 405 says you're not stuck in traffic. And you're thinking, how the hell? What does that mean? It says you are traffic, which I kind of like.
All right. Does anyone know what that means?
What he meant?
Yeah.
Or what the sign means?
He saw a sign. Well, he liked a sign that said, "You're not in traffic. You are traffic."
Yes, because he likes to confuse people. It makes no sense whatsoever. You are traffic. You're not.
Heather, what's your
I think
take on that?
It's sort of easy to be have animosity towards things outside ourselves. So everybody's frustrated and annoyed with traffic. I hate traffic. Well, you are traffic. It does sort of pivot the thing of like, okay, maybe I don't hate myself. I don't know.
So
I think
it's
that's
zen.
the idea
it's
behind
a zen
it.
approach.
How would it?
It's a
cheeky. I
mindful
appreciate
zen
that.
approach. Okay,
You like it?
I mean, I like that it's more interesting than click it. I think you made a good argument. I'd be surprised if they don't make some changes after that.
That was 10 years ago.
We're screwed.
You'd be
No
surprised.
changes.
I wish he would have just said, "You have a point. I'll look into it." Do you think any politicians ever said that?
No.
Well,
That's
first
a
off,
deflection campaign.
Yeah.
his contention about there's no cars that are made without this thing. Let me explain how laws work. You don't get to make a car with no airbags in it and no brake lights. You don't get to. Maybe you'd like to.
Right.
It'd be
Yeah.
cheaper for you to make a car with no airbag. And maybe Nissan would like to say, we'd like to offer no airbag. But guess what? The government doesn't allow you to make cars with no airbags or no seatbelt chime in it. They don't
Right.
allow it.
Not any new ones. I
Not
guess if you had
since
a lot of-
1976.
Right.
They don't have
Okay.
a sign that says "Don't make a mistake, hit your brakes." I mean, it's something. It's common sense. There's a lot of common sense problems that we have.
Don't text and drive is a good one, except I think
Yeah.
the people that need to see it are looking at their phones.
They're looking at their phones.
So I don't know how effective that is either.
How about when
Right,
you text
but-
somebody, you say, "I'm driving," you would assume they wouldn't text you anymore.
Right.
I had a guy at the golf course, he says, "I'm waiting for you." And I said, "I'm driving." Assume he keeps texting me, "I'm waiting 20 minutes, da-da-da." I finally got back to him, and the L is next to the K. And it came out, "When I get there, I'm going to lick your ass." He wasn't there when I got there.
How romantic.
So but whether it's Zen or not, if you were trying to alleviate a problem and it was traffic or it was cancer, and you just said, you don't have cancer, you are cancer.
Right. You can't.
I don't think it's a step toward
Think it away.
alleviating the problem. Is what I'm saying to him is there is a problem. What are we going to do to address the problem? And his answer is, you're the problem.
Right.
And then he laughs, and now his work is done. And that's what makes him a sociopath. And that's why your mom hates him.
How did you know my mom?
She called me Will Rogers. She's got to hate Newsom.
You are correct about that. But there's just too many drivers from other countries. That's my theory on Los Angeles. They're from everywhere. So you've got the style of New York. I'm from back east, and we have a certain style.
No, he's
we
right.
try to beat the green on the. That's how you
There are
turn.
different styles of driving. I also think it's overdevelopment, right? They
Yeah.
want to put a restaurant on every block and higher buildings and then more cars, and they don't account for the parking because they don't make as
Right,
much
but
on buildings.
here's the whole thing. If you're going to have more cars, more traffic, more people, more everything, then you really need to get people to turn right on a red because of the more. Like, you have to drive in a way that flows better and doesn't hold it up as much. Like, there are too many cars and too many people, and that's why we need to implement these notions.
and add it to traffic school.
Yes,
When you go to traffic school, this should be part of the program.
the flow.
On how to drive in flow.
So the
because
sign should say, make a right on red. It's not a suggestion.
Yes, it's not a suggestion, you selfish douche. Wake up,
it's
turn
a
right on
suggestion
red.
like pulling your pants down when you take a dump. That's what a suggestion is. You must do this.
The other,
to use language
to
like
answer your question, by the way, of too many foreign-born drivers.
no, from everywhere, even in the United States. You got Montana. You got everything is here.
It's all the above. It's
All the above is here.
I will tell you. I will explain why.
Okay.
You want to explain?
Yeah.
First off, you get a bunch of guys from the East Coast, and they grew up in a place where it was not legal to turn right on a red. So if you're from New
hard to
York, you
remember,
can't turn
yeah.
right on a red.
At one time, yeah.
Right, and then you move out here. I don't know if they changed it or not in the city. Whatever. You're from a place where there's no right on red. Then you move here, and you've not been informed that you can turn right on red,
Right.
and you don't know it. And now you're in front of me, and that's the problem. And hence the campaign. If we put it up on the fucking sign instead of hydrate when it's 68 degrees outside and you got a fucking bottle of Evian between your legs,
Or ever.
then that person would know they could do it.
Yes.
But we don't inform that person they can do it, and now we're in gridlock.
I have
maybe-
another one for you. I have
Oh,
another
yeah.
one for you guys. Where'd you grow up, Heather? Where'd you grow up?
Los Angeles.
Oh, so you're L.A. Okay,
That's
I'm from
right.
back east. And where'd you grow up?
Here.
Okay. Do you know when you're making a left at an intersection, it's a completely different style back east? Do you know how we do it back east? We beat the traffic. You jump the gun.
Yes.
Here you wait until the end, and then you can make the left if there's no arrow. Or whatever, right?
Yeah, well,
That's a big difference.
Well, first off, what you're doing is illegal.
Yeah,
number
Mike,
one.
what happens? Do you die on the East Coast?
And number two,
We all made it.
It only works for one car. It works for one car. It's not going to work for two cars.
Yeah, it works for 2 or 3. That's how it goes back. You just go quickly.
Yeah, I don't think that
We're trained like
third
that.
cars, and the second and third, I ain't making it when the light changes.
You can go on yellow if the other person's slowing down.
If you got someone who's into it on the other side, because if you got a version of you
On the other side.
who's going
trying to
straight,
make it, yeah, then
No,
you're screwed.
the version of me knows that they're going to make a left, and you don't
all right.
floor it.
Okay.
It's an accepted policy. And
All
when
right.
I
Put
moved
it on
out
a
here,
sign, we'd be a lot better.
exactly something like that you could put on a sign. Like
I think if we really want to help traffic, the sign should say, "Hey, have you considered staying home?"
Well, that's what Newsom wants you to do. That's you're not in traffic, you are traffic.
You aren't in government,
Listen,
you are government.
You know I like you, Craig, right?
What are you about to say?
I travel this man's land. I'm in every state in the union. I'm in a rental car. I'm in an Uber. I don't see a lot of the jumping of the left. I don't think it's a standard practice.
Of all the insults you could have given me,
and your
I'm
friends.
not going to take that one on.
And I like where your head's
back
at.
on the show.
Don't get me wrong.
Shots fired.
I just
I'm
don't
talking
think
about
it's a standard
styles.
thing.
There are different styles from different places. I was brought up like that, and it worked.
Obviously,
it works.
I
Right?
like it.
There's some
I like
precedence
it.
to it.
I don't see it in practice.
It's for the more aggressive people, and they're more aggressive back east. My saying is,
I travel back east and drive all over the place. I don't see it, is what I'm saying. That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
believe you're driving there enough that you've even noticed it.
Let me tell
I
you
will
something.
I want you to spend a week in Philadelphia.
We have
okay?
established that I study traffic patterns. Have we not?
I'm questioning your data.
All right. I know Joe Prano's in the next room. How standard of practice is the jumping of the green on the left?
Very, very standard.
Very
Wow,
standard.
Okay.
Where are you from?
From I grew up in Westchester, but lived in Manhattan and Brooklyn for a long time.
Oh, okay, you get it.
That's a go-to move. When the light changes, you go first. First couple cars speed out there, and then everybody else goes after.
There you go. That's how it works because we're more aggressive back
I
east. And
just
truth-tellers.
drove all
First
through
car
Long
at
Island.
least.
My saying about me is I moved out here years ago, and I'm stuck between Namaste and Kiss My Ass. That's where I live in that space.
All right, listen.
all the time. Because
First off, I like
embrace you and mace you at the same
I like
time.
the cut of your jib, son. I appreciate the people. Like when people do ballsy stuff on the
Ballsy.
road, I like it. I don't
Exactly.
honk at them. I just haven't seen it. And I would also argue that I can make the case for that being dangerous versus turning right when it's clear to turn right. There's no inherent danger built into that activity.
And by the way, this
yes.
is the stuff that they should debate about.
Yeah, agreed.
The common sense stuff.
Can I tell you why LA has a problem with driving? Over officious cops handing out chicken shit tickets is
So
part of
you're
it.
knocking my theory as well.
No,
on
your
that there's
theory is people come here
from everywhere.
right.
They're in a pickup in Montana and they move out here.
No.
You're back east. No, that's not the truth.
It is the truth, but that's not what really holds it up. It's all the foreign lands that come
That
from.
too.
And the foreign land problem is people say to us, how come you guys in America, you have the best athletes in the world, you get beat in soccer every year? Why can't you play better soccer with the best athletes in the world? You know what the answer is?
What?
These other places, it's in their DNA. They grow up playing. It's 100
From
years
birth.
old.
Yeah.
It's an old sport for them, and it's in them. It's new, and even though we have these great athletes, we can't win, and that's what driving is. Half these people, their grandparents rode a donkey, and now they're here behind the
I like this
They're now behind the wheel of a car, and it's not in their DNA.
I think it's too many women driving.
Yes!
Oh,
now
Heather,
we're
bring
talking.
their
Now we're getting on
licenses
to
away. My
something.
God.
We just mind melded that over
It's
to
the
you.
exact same reason as soccer. We can't. It's not in their DNA. We've been, the Indy 500 has been going on for like 110 years. It's in our driving fast is in our DNA, and many of the places and many of the lands that people hail from who come here, they may be first generation drivers. That's
It depends
the
on
problem.
the country, though, right? Because some countries are even crazier. Like, have you seen footage of like the streets in India? It seems insane. Like, you can just do anything.
Oh yeah, they seem to be lawless over
Right?
there.
You know, like there are a lot of countries where it's like even crazier.
This is a very good point you're making because I know you love auto racing.
Yes.
You don't see anybody. This driver's from Mumbai.
Not a
right?
lot.
No, not a lot. None. They're all from like Italy where they speed, and Germany. That's where they have the Autobahn.
They're from
This
the
is-
fast
Now that I
places.
think about this, it's in the DNA.
It's in
you get
the
an
DNA.
Autobahn, it's like every person for themselves. I mean, you ever driven on the Autobahn?
I've never driven on the auto. Oh,
Mr. World Traveler with all his data. Oh, suddenly I haven't driven in Germany.
I've never. Well, listen. I've signed off on the Autobahn. I get it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm a fan. But I've never driven on it.
Do you know that they will literally, if you're driving too slow in the left lane, that's another one of my big bugs.
Oh, well, you're going 140 in the left lane.
And they
start
will
riding
tap
the
your
horn.
car to get you going to
Are you
150.
serious?
They will tap you.
Whoa.
They don't put the lights on. They go. That's how
my
good the
God.
drivers they are.
Yeah.
You better move over, or they will smash into your car. That's just how it works. I like that. It's every person for themselves. It's Mad Max.
We have, I think that, yeah. Here we'd call that bump drafting, but there.
Or
it's
getting
a nudge.
rear-ended.
Yes.
You know, we also used to have back east when it snowed. If you needed to get somewhere, you'd just jump on someone's bumper with slippery shoes, and it's like water skiing.
Oh,
Sounds
yeah.
fun.
It was called bumper hopping.
Wow.
Yeah, you could go literally miles. This one's making a left. I'll jump on his. I'll jump on this one. And then they took away bumpers, which really pissed me off.
yeah.
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 Start
They were
integrating
really good
them.
bumpers you could.
Yeah, you used to
go
be able
up
to
or
grab
down.
a bumper.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds
And
so
not only
fun.
that,
Yeah.
strap shit to a bumper. Can I
Yeah.
tell you what I saw 40 minutes ago when I was driving in? And I love the shit out of it. I saw my first Tesla super truck. Now, I've seen
Those are pretty ugly.
dozens. And I should be clear. I've seen dozens of these super trucks throughout Malibu and Los Angeles because there's probably more Tesla super trucks in the city of Malibu than there are in all of the states of Wyoming and Nebraska and St. Missouri all put together, right? But they're a dime a dozen, and they're funky, weird, ugly, kind of 80s. But I think they're trying to be ugly and weird
Yeah,
in
some
80s.
people maybe love it.
But I saw a Tesla super truck, which I don't know, has to be 150 grand, filled with 2x4s.
Yeah.
Like wood planks? Is that what you're
Sorry, yes. Wooden 2x4s. I should have said wooden.
I got that, but I still don't understand. Are they building an ark? What was that for?
I don't know. But it's
was
a super truck filled with 2x4s.
So they're in the construction business or whatever, and they're using this.
I can't imagine
new-
they're
this is
in
the
the
new-
business, but they're using the bed of their super truck.
Okay. So you're okay with that?
No, I'm in love with it.
You don't have one of those, do you?
No.
You know, I was thinking about my kid.
Have you ever seen? You never see a. You think you're ever going to see a super truck used like a pickup truck?
No, not. You wouldn't think so normally. Have you ever talked about this? The names of cars now. Like when I was a kid, you wanted a Mustang, you wanted a Camaro, you wanted a GTO. What'd you want? What was your favorite car? You know, Charger, whatever it is.
Daihatsu Charade.
Look at the names now. Prius, Yaris, whatever the hell Yaris is. My son's
agree.
going to bond with his kids. Go, my dad got me an electric Nissan Leaf.
Right.
That thing
Doesn't have the same ring to
Oh,
it.
it
does
roared
it?
like a toaster oven.
Oh,
It doesn't-
sorry.
You don't want a car like that.
They're called a Cybertruck.
Cybertruck.
Yeah. Anyway, just the novelty of a douchebag $150,000 truck that no one would ever going to use the payload of, filled with 2x4s.
It
I
feels
thought
like
was interesting.
if you can afford
Evidently,
that,
it wasn't, but I found it interesting.
Maybe you can pay someone else to move your 2x4s. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to something else then. We can get
Well, I know
on.
I understand your annoyances with everything else. This one, I don't know.
I didn't say I was annoyed with it. I said I was in love with it.
in love, but I
Yeah.
thought there was a sarcastic love. Okay.
No, I thought I liked the idea that someone was using their. It'd be
Just
like
seeing
if you
everyday
saw
stuff.
a Mercedes G-Wagon covered with mud because the guy was off-roading with it. I would like that. Or a Lamborghini SUV that was covered with mud because the guy went off the trail with it.
And
How
towing some
how
jet
about a
skis.
minivan filled with hookers?
Yeah.
That's
which I
something-
have seen.
Going to.
I've seen that in Manhattan. Absolutely.
A minivan?
A minivan filled with hookers. I was working in Manhattan. Dr. Drew and I were doing Loveline. It was when we would go to New York, we'd have to do Loveline from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. because of the time difference.
Oh, wow.
So we would be on from 10 to midnight out here, but there, 1 to 3. And I would oftentimes
Hardcore.
do Stern the following morning, which would always
my
be
God.
insane. But he and I were on CBS Studios, sort of Manhattan down, sort of whatever. And we just walked back to our hotel at 3:15 a.m. It was like, 5 blocks or whatever, safe enough for us.
To be a man.
Yeah, and we just started walking back at 3:15, 3:20 on a Thursday night, midweek, middle of the week, and there was a busted up minivan filled with what were clearly prostitutes.
Really?
And Drew and I are just doing that walk like it's 3 a.m. We're just walking with purpose, not one to slow down or eye contact with homeless guy or whatever. And one of the women who was just, black woman with blonde hair and nails out to here and boots up to there, she did a kind of like, could you fellas help some ladies out? And Drew, because he's Drew, goes, those women are in distress. And he starts turning toward them. And I literally grab his arm and yank him back. And he's like, well, those women are in distress. And I go, those are whores. It's a van full of
But
whores,
how did
Drew.
you know, Adam?
I have a sixth sense that after 3 a.m. on a Wednesday, when there's women in miniskirts.
They were soccer moms, for God's sakes.
Yes.
Where is your
I was
thoughts?
like, I just
That's who goes in a minivan.
Yeah.
He literally took
We
2
all
steps.
have our hobbies to keep us feeling fun.
It was so on point for Dr. Drew.
And so on
very
point for
cute.
you. That's what makes you guys the great
I
combination.
just knew it was very clear what the context of this was for me. So there are minivans filled with whores every once in a
I
while.
love he's got data on this one, too.
I like
got
that it's
data.
like they travel in packs. They're a family. It sounds like they like who they work with, and I appreciate that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm sure they all landed on their feet. I mean, that's been 20 years, but I'm sure they're all doing great now. Probably mothers, you know what I mean? 401ks, IRAs,
Here's hoping.
full health insurance, everything else.
That's a sweet
I'm
wish for them.
with him. I'm such a rescuer. Yes. I celebrate Codependence Day, not Independence Day. That's how bad it is.
We let's see. I wanted to complain about Fauci because I hate Fauci. And I got a clip that somebody sent me today. So here's the thing about Fauci. Fauci 4 years ago, almost to the day, I announced he was compromised. And the reason I announced he was compromised is because Jim Jordan was questioning him about Black Lives Matter and about having protests and being in large groups. And he wouldn't say that's not a good idea as it pertained to Black Lives Matter. All the other forms of groups he was against, but not that. So I'm like, he is a compromised person. He's partisan. And then once you become partisan, then it's hard to do your job. And then that was 4 years ago. No one else knew it but me, and everyone argued with me. And now it's kind of in dribs and drabs coming out, sort of who he was, what he did, lab origins, things of that nature. He lied about a lot of shit. Now, there's going to be a lot more that he lied about that's coming out. But he's partisan, and he was compromised, I'm saying. Now, so you go, well, what is that? And you go, well, he clearly wants Biden to win the election, and he clearly hates Trump, and then he will make policy that will reflect that and that we will then experience based on what would be better for either candidate, which is exactly where we don't want to live. You do not want any of that as a nation, that we have a guy who claims to be science, who's just calling balls and strikes, except for it's only on behalf of one side and it's never going the other direction. And we end up getting fucked for it. Just like I yelled at Newsom for closing the beaches and closing the schools, and all the shit he did that he thought was helping his side was hurting his subjects, but he didn't give a fuck because they had an election to win. Fauci was compromised. And we can play a minute of the
He's finally admitting
exchange.
it, too. He's admitting about the masks.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, now this is him from, I don't know, a day or two ago. I'm trying to think. Very recently after the election. And now we're asking Dr. Fauci, who is science. They want to get his take on Biden and how he's clearly affected by his Parkinsonian syndrome that is clearly taking a heavy toll on him, as everyone saw from the 90-minute debate. So let's hear what Mr. Science has to say about what we all saw and experienced a week ago.
It just looked like a bad night because my interaction...
All right, hold on. Stop right there. Bad night is a Democratic talking point. That's their talking point. Bad night.
Yeah,
that's what they've said
a
to
head
say.
cold and a head
But
cold.
so to Fauci, who's a doctor, it just looked like a bad night. To him, a guy who couldn't collect his thoughts and was stammering and had a 1,000-yard stare and a gaping mouth. To Dr. Fauci, it looked like a bad night to him. Okay, here it is.
It just looked like a bad night because my interaction with him was what I describe in the book and what happened even subsequent to what I described in the book after I got out. He's very probing in his questions, very analytical, very calm about things. When you go in to brief him, Major, you better really know your topic because he's going to ask you very relevant questions. And he's very reflective on things and just doesn't jump out with conclusions or anything, but is very analytic. So my interactions with him, I have to say, have been very, very positive.
Did you see the debate?
I did.
Did anything about that, what you saw, medically alarm you?
I can't say. I think it would be inappropriate to say that, Major, because when you're just looking at someone on a one-shot basis, you just don't know what could happen.
All right, so what if you examined somebody once who was a horrible burn victim? Was it just a one time, or we need to follow up?
You're going to have to come back in 2 weeks.
He's a fucking partisan liar. He's lying right now. Of course he's lying. Now, he's lying now. He lied then. Yeah. That's the part that people don't get.
He's been lying
4
since
years
the 80s,
ago,
by the way.
He's been lying. He's fucking compromised and has been lying. And all you assholes with your Fauci candles should lube him up and shove him right up your fucking asses, because you've been defending this guy the entire time, who's a partisan hack who's been lying. He's lying now. He was lying then. I know everyone likes him because he comes in a sort of happy package, but he caused a lot of destruction, and he's a fucking liar. And by the way, you can't tell that Biden is compromised because you only watched him stammer for 90 minutes. All right, but let's continue.
And there's other clips of him doing the same thing.
He's fucking Fauci's lying.
He's looking up in the air for answers. By the way, people always say, well, he's been around for a number of administrations. So was Hoover.
Right.
And he was compromised. I mean, it's amazing to me.
It's really hard to find anyone who's not going to have their own bias and still wants to be involved in politics,
But he's not involved with politics.
Yeah,
he's
not politics.
That's the point.
problem.
He's not running for something.
Right.
He's not supposed to be on either side. He's supposed to. Him and Rochelle Walensky are supposed to give the public the best advice they have so that we can deal with whatever pandemic comes along, not shut down the schools because you got pressure from the teachers' unions, you fucking bitch. Ugh. Yes, everyone has their own opinions, but if you're making policy and you're not an elected official, then you should not be partisan. But here it is. He's partisan.
You speak like someone who had children home during the pandemic.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. I homeschool my kids. My youngest son asked for a transfer. That's how bad it was.
After getting cut from the basketball team, I'd be pissed too if I were him. All right, let's continue. The guy asked a normal question. You saw the debate. You're a doctor. Any thoughts?
I can't say. I think it would be inappropriate to say that, Major, because when you're just looking at someone on a one-shot basis, you just don't know what could happen. Did he have a bad cold? Did he take an antihistamine to make it?
All right, stop it. This guy's a doctor. He had a bad cold. He took an antihistamine. He's making a fucking ass of himself. Mm-hmm. He's making an ass of himself. It's fucking pathetic.
People like to say he's a doctor. So was Dr. Mengele. It doesn't mean you empower this person.
He had a cold.
Him.
All right. If you have the cold doesn't rot your brain, and neither does antihistamines either. And his excuse of he traveled to Europe, 2 weeks, 2 weeks before the debate. He went to Europe. Then he went to Camp David for a week and took a nap. What are they fucking talking about? Obviously, they're just lying at this point, and he's just lying at this point. And I wonder why he doesn't know that he seems like such a lying asshole. That's my question. But anyway, there's roll it back 20 seconds.
That's how
Maybe
sociopath operates.
That's how it works. All right.
Inappropriate to say that, Major, because when you're just looking at someone on a one-shot basis, you just don't know what could happen. Did he have a bad cold? Did he take an antihistamine to make him, groggy or what have you? We don't know what went on. And I think it would be unfair and inappropriate to try and diagnose something from just a 90-minute clip.
All right, so if you just saw a homeless guy who had dementia for 90 minutes, you just watched a clip. Or how about like if you had a really bad rash on your elbow and I just filmed it and then sent a picture to Dr. Drew? Do you think that would be unfair that he wouldn't
90 seconds. I can make an assessment on Fauci in 90 seconds that he's full of shit. So, yeah. I mean, I don't have to be a doctor to know that. This guy is, but somehow he had a good PR campaign in the beginning. I believed him in the beginning. I was full on into him.
Everyone was into him and I was fine with him until the Jim Jordan exchange 4 years ago, and then I screamed into this microphone that he was compromised because he wouldn't do. He was partisan because what a non-partisan would do is go, listen, BLM rallies, baseball games, concerts, big groups. That's a no-no. I'm against it all. Hey, your cause could be a moral cause, like BLM, good for you. But the reality is a virus doesn't know the difference between a BLM rally and a Klan rally.
Sure.
It's just a virus. So I would be against all of that.
In which case, we actually should be encouraging the Klan rallies.
I would. Well, at least you got the hood on. You can breathe through the hood. I put a charcoal filter in mine. I got a whole filter set up. I got the rechangeable cartridge in my Klan hood. Right, but he wouldn't do it 4 years ago. He wouldn't do it. And then I said he's compromised. And then everyone else, including Dr. Drew, said, I don't know what you're talking about. And it took everyone a little while. But it was a tell. And that was the tell from 4 years ago. Now he's full-blown Biden camp. I mean, is there any other way to explain what we just saw with Fauci other than full Biden camp?
I thought he left his job, though.
He did.
Why is he even being interviewed then?
Well, he's
not in charge of any policy anymore, is he?
No, he's hawking a book, and he lives in Washington. He has to deal with that crowd.
I'm going to go with the book, The Truth About Fauci by Kennedy. I'm going to go with that one.
Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious he's rooting for Biden.
Yes. All right. And by the way, when you're rooting for Biden, you're kind of rooting against this country because he is the diminished person. But I guess what you're saying is I'm rooting for whoever's making policy for Biden.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what you're saying because you can't root for Biden anymore. He's dangerous. But you can root for whoever's making the policy.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are hoping he steps down, replaces himself, all that fun stuff.
Well, it's not only Biden. It's who's sponsoring this guy. Who sponsors all of this? It's Big Pharma.
Oh,
talk about compromise. That's how
it
all starts with that.
Big Pharma.
Everyone. Talk about histamines.
What's that?
Everybody asks themselves one simple question: was there one therapeutic? Dr. Drew, I spoke to today, and he goes, I got into an elevator with a guy who had COVID today, or the other day. Says COVID's kind of making the rounds again. He told me he's seeing a lot of patients, and he said I got into this nasal lavage thing where he flushed his nasal cavities out like 3 times a day. He said it worked. I didn't get COVID. My family did it too, and whatever.
No,
he injected bleach. He said so. I said, yeah, one more thing that we weren't able to talk about. We weren't able. But here's the mind experiment. Was there one therapeutic that CNN signed off on other than vaccinations? Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, flushing, exercise, vitamin D, natural immunity. Was there one motherfucking thing they signed off on that was not a vaccine?
Opposite.
And the answer is no. They shot down and attacked every single, you
horse dewormer, the whole PR
they had
campaign.
The doctor,
Absolutely.
they had the Hasidic doctor out of New York who passed away, not from COVID, but he was like zinc and hydroxychloroquine, and they all just fucking attacked him savagely, and it's like, so CNN, you just attacked everybody with every therapeutic that you'd never heard of and you had no data on. You just attacked every one of them except for the one that the big pharmas came out with. Interesting.
All you have to do is look at any news cycle, and it's all sponsored by Big Pharma.
Yes.
When I was growing up, it was Bayer aspirin. That was the most, the most, right?
Yes.
It was not even the boner pills.
Yeah.
How many side effects do you have? Quick close itching, swelling, loss of hearing,
Tell
pneumonia,
us all
vomiting,
about
diarrhea.
those.
Oh, well.
Well, I'm sitting there with my kids, which is a big moment for me. I didn't have a dad. Father and son bonding, and a commercial comes on. Do you have erectile dysfunction? My kid turns to me, do you, Dad? Thanks for the Hallmark moment, Viagra.
My son said the same thing. I said, "Why don't you find out, champ?" Oh yeah, we had a Mexican standoff right on the sofa.
I'll tell you, I'm not going to ask my dad that.
Ask your dad.
But it's uncomfortable. You have to explain these erections to your children. I mean, and that's Big Pharma has made that okay.
I'd had a little trouble in the erectile department, and then I saw that cyber truck filled with 2x4s, and it was like,
you became a 2x4.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We'll do some news, and we'll do that with Heather Pasternak right after this. Well, let me tell you about Morgan & Morgan. It's 2024, so let's talk about something important. If you get hurt this year, your injury could be worth millions. If you're ever injured, you should check out Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Well, they've done more than $20 billion they've recovered for over 500,000 clients. So let's say that's a pretty good track record. Morgan & Morgan is, well, they have a proven track record. That's what I just said. So they can fight to get you the full and fair amount of compensation. They've been fighting for the people for over 35 years. Racing my vintage cars, well, that can be hard, but submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan, well, that's easy. So if you got an issue, had an injury, talk to my friends over at Morgan & Morgan. Am I right, Dawson?
If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law, #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or #law, #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
Homes.com knows that when it comes to home shopping, it's never just about the house or condo. It's about the home. And what makes a home is more than just a house or property. It's the location. It's the neighborhood. If you have kids, it's also schools, nearby parks, transportation options, all the above. That's why Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth information they need to find the right home. And when I say in-depth, I'm talking about deep. That's right. Each listing features comprehensive information about the neighborhood, complete with a video guide. They also have details about local schools with test scores, state rankings, and student-to-teacher ratio. They even have an agent directory with the sales history of each agent. So when it comes to finding a home, not just a house, this is everything you need to know, all in one place. Homes.com. Homes.com. We've done your homework.
Carolla Show.
All right. Heather Pasternak, no relation, is here. She's got her news, and we'll do that right now.
Yeah. So first bit of news, Biden came out and said that he was tired during the debate. He nearly fell asleep on stage, talking about the world travel he was doing. And they've also noted that the debate started at 9 p.m. And Alex Thompson has said that Biden's the sharpest between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. I thought the 9 p.m.
Who was Alex Thompson? Sorry.
He joined TMC Live, political correspondent, and that was his 2 cents. I think it's funny to point out the 9 p.m. thing just to a bunch of comedians because, like, we don't go on till 9 p.m.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's kind of the whole process is a little weird, which is you're going, I'm not old, I'm not feeble, I got energy, and I'm vital. The problem is it was about 8:45
Right.
and Matlock was on and I needed some more milk.
Also, the way they describe it, it sounds like it's like he also had a headache and he wasn't in the mood. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Well, he did get fucked. but that's okay. First things first. He'd been traveling too much. He was, as previously stated, he was in Europe 2 weeks. Like that's enough to recover.
Can't manage his schedule, but the country will. No,
he was retreated to Camp David for 1 week to prepare. Okay, we're comedians. This notion of like. He over-prepared. That's the problem. Like, have you ever?
Sure.
First off, that doesn't. It doesn't exist. You fuck up when you underprepare.
The joke was much better in the first day.
Yeah.
Right.
No, there's no
progressively worse by the time I delivered it.
There's no such thing as over-preparing. Now, there is a kind of a thing where it's like first date. And I looked this person up, and I'm up in my head about it or something. Nerves and first not seasoned politician, been doing it for 50 years. There wasn't over prepared. There wasn't tired. There wasn't anything. He's head cold. He's diminished, but it also, even if you're tired, let's just say you're tired, and we've all had it happen, you know. But
some of us get better when you're tired, by the way.
I
do.
Yes, you hit
the
adrenaline.
I don't get premature ejaculation.
I told you on way more than one occasion I would come back from Loveline in New York at 3:30 in the evening and be at Stern at 10 to 6 and sit in for the entire show. Mm-hmm. 2 hours sleep max. Feeling punchy, but always able to create thoughts.
To your point, you weren't 81 years old.
That is right. So
is that how old he is?
At the moment,
but the problem with all of today's excuses is like, I was traveling. That was 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It was late. It was 9 p.m. Like I had a head cold. This isn't a head cold.
Yeah, I mean, I find the choices for the president to be pretty disheartening either way, but it is sad to think he's got an entire PR team behind him, and this is the excuse they put out.
Well,
I was sleepy.
Our tax-paying dollars are going to good use.
The dog ate my homework.
I
mean, just my thing is just don't say anything. You know what I mean? Like, look, I had a bad night. Moving on.
Yeah.
And vote who you
want to vote for. The good news is,
for.
if you have insomnia like I do, they say listen to White Noise. Just listen to him. Mm-hmm. Put you right out. 5 minutes.
Yeah, Biden was sleepy during the debate, like many of us watching.
Yes.
Exactly. Put me
sad and sleepy.
Good nap.
Okay. Is that it? Did we roast them all? Should we move on to the next news story?
I think we can go to our next one.
Are we all sad enough now? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really excited about this next news story. It's Dying Together. A happily married couple decided to stop living. Basically, in the Netherlands, you are allowed to have aided euthanasia, and now it's happening more and more. Couples are doing it. This is honestly one of the most romantic news stories I've ever heard. I just think this is really cute. Sounds like a sequel to The Notebook. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there won't be a sequel to that.
Right.
That's the end of that.
Although I do worry, like, the idea of joint euthanasia, you know what I mean? Like, I think about how every night my husband falls asleep in 2 minutes and I'm still up. Like, why?
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Who are these people?
Well, they're Jan and Els.
I mean the people that fall asleep in 2 minutes.
There they are. Yeah, these people who don't have anxiety or take enough anxiety medication to fall asleep easily.
I spoke to my daughter yesterday. And she was in Spain. By the way, kids, I was in New York working. My thing is I travel and work, and then I underwrite everyone else's lifestyle. And I called her when I was in New York. I'm in New York. I'm in the city. I'm taking the train. I'm going to Long Island. I'm doing Governors tonight. And she goes, "Oh, you're in New York?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, I'm so jealous." I go, "Listen, first off, you're in Spain. You're in Spain.
And you're not working.
You're eating tapas right now on the beach, number one. Number two, you can't be in New York and Spain at the same time. And no, I didn't get away with anything. I'm working." But I talked to her yesterday. She said, I said, when did you fly in? She flew home the night before. She said it was like a 12, 13-hour flight or something like that. I go, "How was the flight?" She goes, "Slept the entire way." I go, "Just listen to me. You don't know what a gift that is.
Yeah.
You do not
Enjoy
know what
now.
that gift is." And she goes, "Yeah, I slept all the way there, and I slept all." And I'm like,
God.
okay.
Is the gift Xanax? What is she doing?
I go, listen to me. I'm 6'2". I sleep on my face. I just lay there tortured the entire time.
Totally.
Every single thing. Of course, the fucking... everyone behind me uses my seat like a fucking grab bar, right? Who are these people who do not think this motion transfers? I have to get up, I'm grabbing your seat, I'm going to pull it down to my waist and then let it go. She says, I sleep all. I said, honestly, please understand this is a gift. And I know it doesn't feel like anything. Yeah. It is the greatest blessing ever. Enjoy. Wow. You can sleep on a plane.
They have gifts now that we never had. How about graduation? My son, Europe for 3.5 weeks. I graduated. I went to the Jersey Shore for a night, slept under a car for my graduation. And he's FaceTiming me from Europe. He goes, "What's up, Dad? I'm at a nude beach in France." I'm going, "Move your fucking head. Let me see what I paid for."
That's cute.
It's true. I mean, it's unbelievable what they have now. And I think part of your anxiety, my anxiety, maybe yours, is that you have to pay for everything. You have to keep supporting a trip to Spain, and so you just have to work harder. That's what that means to me.
Listen, my son's going to Japan.
Okay, on his dime, from him working?
His dime.
There you go. There's more loss of sleep for you.
I said to Dr. Drew, I said, "Could you afford to go to Japan for 2 weeks and just hang out?" He goes, "No." I go, "Me neither." Yeah. I just pay for people to do it, but I can't afford to hang out in Japan for 2 weeks or Spain for 2 weeks. I can't afford it myself, but I will still underwrite all those who are doing it.
I just have the anxiety of before I had kids, I felt so invincible. Well, if I died today, I've had a good life, I've made my peace with it. But then you have kids, you're like, I can't die, you can't die. No one can die, nothing bad can happen. I feel so much anxiety on a flight because you just feel so needed.
You got another news story there? The couple. How old were they?
So I believe they're in their 70s. One of them had dementia. It should be noted. The woman had dementia and made the decision before.
Hold on.
Her
Fauci said
she was
Fauci said she was fine, by the way. She said I had cold. She had a bad night. That's all. Shouldn't have killed herself.
She had a bad
Too
night.
long a flight.
Signed the euthanasia thing. And then her husband, Jan, had chronic pain. He was unable to work. So they kind of made this decision together. And their son, who has asked to remain anonymous, told the BBC it was a strange day losing both of his parents.
I'll go for that.
Yeah.
I would do that with my ex, but I'd be like, you go ahead. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a prank?
I'm going to shower for the coroner, but you go ahead. I'll be right behind you.
But I mean, it is sort of sad that in America you don't have the option to die how you want to, right?
Well, there's always a bridge.
That's true.
If you need it.
That sounds rough, though. I want the meds. You know what I mean?
You want to go
I
with
think
the meds.
you could med.
Whatever they give you for your colonoscopy.
Yeah.
You ever they say count from 10? At 8, I'm completely done with no dreams. I just wake up a little, like oil around
Propofol.
my rectum.
Listen, propofol.
It's like I was date raped. I have no idea
Heather,
if they did or not.
So, I'm not telling you how to go.
You're not offering me any?
You are a syringe full of propofol and a trash bag away from leaving this planet
dreams?
with dignity.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it.
I'll take some notes.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the way to go, though, because you don't know anything. Have you done it?
It's propofol.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. You do not have any memory of any. There's no dreaming. You're not even in a dream state, right? Or am I the only one?
No, you're exactly right. It's 100%.
Darkness until you wake up.
Listen, it wouldn't even matter if you died when you were on propofol.
Right.
It just wouldn't matter.
You feel nothing.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it.
Yep. Even fantasies.
Yeah, that's when you get a colonoscopy. That's when they give you the propofol.
I think it's pretty romantic dying together. What do you guys think? No?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some sweetness there, right?
If there was romance still.
Yeah.
I think it's...
It sounds like a good little story.
I wonder what the
Notebook.
soundtrack was they picked. Like, I'd like to hear that Spotify playlist.
Oh, Chariots of Fire for sure. I think I'd
My
have
ex
to
would
go
be
Chariots-
Highway to Hell.
Highway to Hell.
There you go.
That's our wedding song.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'd do Chariots of Fire, and that'd be good. Then the propofol, then the trash, and again, I'd announce I'll put the trash bag on you like a gentleman, and then just
so
a quick
sweet.
shower for the corner.
A real man takes the trash out even till the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, what's the next one we got?
The next one, hot goss. Ellen DeGeneres comes out and says she might be many things, but she's not mean. So she's addressing the scandal that came out about her being a mean girl, hard to work with. I mean, Adam, you've been on her show.
Yes.
Where do you weigh in on this?
She's a bitch.
I don't think you get to
She's angry.
self-assess things like that.
You don't.
You can't just
the
get to say.
Look,
You got to talk to other people, get feedback, not your own.
Right.
Yeah,
Especially if you're a narcissist.
You can decide if you're tall or short, but society will decide if you're mean or nice. That'll be society's job. Although I shouldn't be pushing for this because I would end up on the mean side of the spectrum if I left it up to society. But listen, I've done everyone's show. I've done every single fucking show out there. And there's one surefire way to tell if the person who's in charge is mean or not.
Staff.
Yep. And the question is the staff scared or not? When you go to do Leno, there's no fear in any of the staff members. And when you go to do Kimmel, there was no fear. And on many shows, there was no fear. Letterman.
There's a little fear with Kimmel, though, if you misspell something.
He doesn't like misspelling.
Uh-oh.
I know.
Oh, he'll circle it.
I'm
He'll circle
dyslexic. Don't take me over.
You'd be fired.
Yeah.
I sat in an office with that guy, and everything was a spelling correction. Because comedians should be obsessed with spelling.
I get your point,
All right, Ellen's staff is scared shitless.
Yeah.
And Letterman's staff is scared shitless.
Okay.
Which means they're both fucking mean. Because if otherwise
Which
your
means they need to
staff
stop hiring pussies.
is not scared. But all that being said, fuck all the pussies. You go there, you get free food, you got air conditioning, it's a fucking job. But what do you think people do? Work on construction sites and roofers and shit like that? Think they have a sweetheart of a foreman? Fuck off.
No.
You know what I mean? So she's mean, and her complaining staff is a bunch of pussies. It's
Maybe
both.
she was just on histamines.
She could have had a head cold. It was her trip
Every
to
day
Europe last summer.
For 15 years.
She's not a nice person, and I knew it because her staff was scared shitless. That's all. Like the segment producer kept coming into the green room I was in, and he's like, you go over the whole fucking thing you're going to talk about. Oh, traveling and the kids, or what'd you do this summer, or what'd you do for Christmas break, or whatever it is. And you go over the whole routine, which is the whole pre-production thing, and they produce your bit. It's all fine. And then the guy kept coming back, and he kept going, you're not going to talk about meat, are you? And I go, no, I'm not going to talk about meat. And he goes, okay. And I go, well, it wasn't part of our thing. We're talking about Christmas or traveling or something like that. And he goes, okay, just don't bring up meat. Okay, don't bring up meat. And I go, I'm not. Why? And he goes, just don't do it. Just don't do it. And I'm like, oh, you're scared shitless. And by the way, now I am going to bring up meat.
Right. I was going to say, when someone tells you like not to curse and then you can't stop.
The third time,
they put it in your
and
head.
all of a sudden you have Tourette's syndrome.
The third time you brought it up, now I'm thinking about barbecue.
Right.
So, mission not accomplished. But I was like, oh, this guy's scared shitless.
Yeah.
Because he got yelled at. because somebody brought up meat and Ellen's vegan or whatever, and it wasn't his fault, but someone brought it up and she got pissed and she screamed at him.
Let's tell the truth here. A lot of people in show business who are at the top are not nice.
No. And also,
sometimes that's how they get there, is from, stepping on people. The transactional relationships is one of the things that drives me crazy about this town.
It's not, let me give Joe an audible here. Joe, can we kick the Zoom back 10 minutes and get a little more news here? Then we'll talk to C. Thomas and company. First things first. It's a beehive of activity. You have to go in every day. There's always shit going wrong. There's always stuff you ask for, that blah, 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 and the guy dropped out, and so on and so forth. And then there's all like this shit where they go, so-and-so wants to come on, but he also has to bring his wife wants to come on too, because she's got a new line of Spanx products. And you're like, oh, fuck, man, I want to talk to this bitch. Well, he says he's not coming on unless she can come on and talk about. It's one big nuisance and annoyance with a clock ticking all the time in a schedule. You know what I mean? It's always clock ticking. So it's a little bit of a pressure cooker.
Oh, yeah.
And it's work. And the people that are, everything kind of pyramids up to the top. It's kind of ultimately you're the one up there when shit doesn't work, looking dumb and all that kind of stuff. You have every right in the world. You have. What does this thing say on my screen here?
I mean, you're the boss here.
Yeah, yell at us to prove your point,
By the way,
Adam.
never bring up the word with Adam.
Okay.
Never bring up the words. Not meet with him. Parking lot.
I've heard.
We all saw him with the parking lot.
Now we got it. All right. No, it was funny as I was complaining about people fucking up. It said noon in Zoom yet. But it was supposed to read no one in Zoom yet, but the space wasn't there. So see, now I'm aggravated. Am I an asshole? All right. So
Kimmel would fire them.
Ellen has Kimmel. Yes,
he would circle.
Ellen has every right to be a pain in the ass. It's her show. It's her name. Whatever it is, fine. And everyone should get the fuck over it. You're getting free food. You get free food.
Yeah.
Well, also,
how bad could the job be? But she's still bitch.
And in every job description, like, it's a trope in the world that bosses are mean. Some bosses are mean, but in show business, we expect that not to apply because these are like people with charisma. We think we know them, and it's just like anything else.
Look out! Look, there are only two people in television history who danced at the beginning of their show. One is Ellen. The other's Bill Cosby at the beginning of the Cosby Show. Ask yourself why they were dancing. Why did they dance? Why?
She has these
because they're putting something forward. They want you to think of them differently than maybe they think of themselves. You watch Bill Cosby in the beginning of a show dance now.
Yes,
it's bizarre.
Other feeling.
It's really, give me the beginning of the Bill Cosby show where he's dancing, and when you watch it now and you think about roofies and women, it'll look surreal.
Oof. Well, here's a question: do you think she does make this point about, she says, I'm many things, but I'm not mean. I could be demanding, impatient, tough. I'm a strong woman.
That's
blah,
fine.
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
But do you think that we care more that she's a bitch because she's a woman? Like, does anybody talk about these other?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Well, Adam brought up
care
Letterman.
more. We care more.
Yeah, but do we talk about Letterman being an asshole? No, we just talk about her being a bitch because we're like, she's a woman. She's not allowed.
There's an element. An element of that.
So
yes, I agree with you.
Maybe the pendulum is swinging. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay, I made a point about women. I guess we should move on immediately.
No. I'm digesting it. I'm wearing that. Okay.
I'm agreeing with you.
Do I agree with that or not?
I'm agreeing. It gets a little overused and fucked out. Like when a woman is assertive,
right?
But it's like,
that.
no, she can be a bitch. And I'm sure she's a bitch. I'm sure Kamala Harris is a bitch, And when people go like, "Oh, because she's a woman of color, we want," no, she's a bitch.
She's a bitch. But can we just not talk about it the way we not talk about it when men are assholes?
Yes, Letterman's a douche too. I mean, his people were all scared of him as well, and I bring it up every time because I'm even handed.
Stern too, by the way.
Oh yeah, yes, they're all scared.
I heard.
All
I won't
scared.
say who it was, but someone who worked for him told me how cheap he was.
Oh, no.
Now, they don't get paid squat.
Yeah.
And he said at Christmas time he got a big
He gave
can
them old Indian
a
food
big
from-
can of popcorn, right? He gave him a big can of popcorn.
wow.
So he reached in there thinking, oh, there's a gift certificate at the bottom. So he's putting his hand in there, he's reaching around. No, all they got was popcorn.
Oh my
For
gosh.
all their work they did at Christmas time. His multimillionaire, that's what he gave them.
If
So
it's caramel, all is forgiven.
it was.
All right, beginning of Cosby, just because it's surreal now to think of this guy.
I'm scared.
And I'm not kidding you.
He would like read and go, Kevin O'Malley, 16 on his SATs, number one in his class at Cardinal Doc. He could have gone anywhere, but he chose Temple.
Really?
And I chose Temple because of those commercials.
That's a good impression.
On the radio or the...
No, on television.
On TV?
He could have gone anywhere, but he chose Temple.
Wow.
And that was a big thing. And he was our lead guy. Now we have to go with Hall and Oates. or Bob Saget.
The alum.
These are the alum. He was our top alum for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was big.
Now we're Sister Sledge, Hall and Oates, and Bob Saget.
I love Hall and Oates.
All
It was
of
the first
this-
concert I ever went to.
Good
All
buddy, a
of this-
very good friend of mine.
Oh,
John
really?
is, yeah. He's a great guy, but they're not getting back together. I
No.
assure you that.
And Maneater's a fucking abortion. That's the worst song ever created. It ruined my adult life.
But I got to tell you a real quick story about him. I didn't know them before. I know it was same hometown. I get this email and it says, "We're real big fans of yours, Craig, and want you to," and I said, "Yeah, right." I wrote back, "No, really, we have tickets for you at the Greek Theater," and I went and saw them. I go backstage, and I was filming a movie called Totally Baked. I said, "Would you like to be in the movie?" And he shows up the next day, and he says, "I don't have a mustache," so we cut the director's hair and we glued it to his lip.
God.
And
Oh,
then
really?
we didn't have wigs or anything, so I played Hall. So speaking of
Wow.
that song, and I had a woman dangle her hair down, and I was on my knees next to, and this guy was stoned. He goes, "Oh my God, I'm freaking out. I think we wrote this scene."
I'd like to
just
see
for
a
him."
clip of that.
Yeah, I'll show it to you. And he said, "I think I see Hall and Oates, and it's me and Oates, the actual Oates with the fake mustache, singing Maneater."
Oh my God.
Oh, here she comes. So,
God, is that somewhere?
Of course, it's called Totally Baked. It's a big
I
hit.
know. No, I mean, can one pull up you singing
Maneater with
on
John
the
Oates?
on the internet?
I would
right now?
imagine. There's clips of everything. It's called Totally Baked. Go check it out. It's a big stoner movie, and we used the mustache all throughout the movie. Then we would tape it on different
Oh
people.
my
So if you're
God.
stoned, you're going, "There's that mustache
That's so
again."
ridiculous.
We wrote things on the fly, which a stoner movie you can do that. Nobody's like keeping track.
All right, let's do one more quick. We got C. Thomas and Jake Allen waiting in the room for
One
us.
more
she
news
comes.
story.
One more.
Okay,
up,
this
boy?
is the last one I got. Shohei Ohtani, did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Has a home run ball and it hit a kid in the forehead. So good news for him, bad news for the kid maybe. I think he's okay.
That's an act of God. Like, I bet that kid beat off for the first time the night before. You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
13 and a half, and he thought he got away with something.
God
The
will
next
find
day,
you.
pop. His dad's looking at him going, "All right, son,
There
put
you
down the Jergens."
But you guys, the velocity was 112 miles per hour.
Oh, that's a
that
hit.
ball.
And hit with the baseball.
boy.
I'm pretty sure it says on the backside of every ticket you buy to go into a major league stadium that you've given away all your rights
Yeah.
to get hit by foul ball or home run
Yeah,
ball
you probably
or,
do to buy
or
ticket
whatever.
even.
It's got to leave a mark, though. I mean,
Oh, it hurts. I actually was in these good seats for foul balls. I said to my kids, I predicted I'm going to get a foul ball. And sure enough, a high fly comes at me. I reach up, bam, it breaks my hand. The kid in back of me gets the ball.
Ouch.
I had no idea. All of Philadelphia was seeing it because they started texting me.
Wow.
You always did suck. The Val softball team, you always suck. And I'm in a hall of shame. Then they bring ice. I'm going, go away. Philly's watching. And of course, I know all the broadcasters are going, we got it all, Shoe. 2 innings later, swear to God, same high fly. I was going, what do I do? And it really did hurt. I had one broken hand. I took the kid who got the ball. I took his hat off in one swoop. I caught the ball in the hat with my
Wow.
right hand.
Wow.
And I stood up, and the guy,
a
the
comeback
broadcasters, 2 innings later, I was in a shame spiral.
Oh, my God.
And the broadcasters are going, "That Shoe, what are the odds?" And I'm
Oh,
up
my
there
God.
going, "I'll show you."
wow.
Crazy.
2 innings later, same exact thing, trajectory, and it does hurt. But I used the hat this time. One swoop, and I caught it, and I just stood up, and everybody's going, "What in the world is going on here?" And the guy, the broadcaster, it was his nephew that got the first ball.
Wow.
Kid he had a Yankees hat, and I
Kismet.
used the Yankees hat. Yeah, it was crazy. But have you ever gotten a foul ball?
No.
Yeah.
Is the kid okay?
This printout says no word on how he's doing, but last I checked, I think there was an update that he survived. I don't know how.
120 in the forehead?
Right in the forehead.
Where's his father to protect him or somebody to protect him?
I was saying, in your story, you probably saved the life of the kid behind you.
I saved the life of many people who were all around me.
The entire stadium
My
was saved by Craig.
Well, hopefully you got hooked up with some sweet merch. Got a little, like, hopefully
Oh,
you got
yeah,
to
they
meet him,
usually.
you know what I
they'll
mean?
give him-
Like,
they'll give him a
film?
signed ball.
Hold on.
he was unconscious.
There's film of it?
But,
They're going to give him a signed ball.
Okay, cool.
I'm surprised they would show this.
It's a high fly.
They're showing
home run.
violence against children.
I don't
They're
know
not
if
going
it
to
was.
show this. There's no way.
Oh, one of his own. He took out one of his own.
You know what?
Ouch.
He took out
That
one
looks
of his
really
own.
rough.
I don't. There's one Asian
One
in,
of his
the
own?
entire place, and he took out his own.
Just say one of his own.
One of his own. He
How do
took
you
out
know?
an eight. Well, how do I
Did
know?
you do a DNA test?
Watch the goddamn. They took out a miniature Asian boy.
Aw.
I don't. Can you listen? You said 114 miles an hour.
112.
112
Let's not
miles
give
an
him
hour.
more credit.
I don't think the
that.
ball falls at 112 miles an hour
Because it's
That was
falling. It's not
that was
like a
falling.
straight
The
shot.
hit had an exit velocity, of 112 miles per hour.
And now
Yeah,
you're
that's
showing it.
off the bat.
So it slows down as it goes. We would hope.
It's much slower
By the
when
way-
if it's 112 and hits a 4-year-old Asian in the head, that kid's
And
dead.
I think it nicked this guy's hand, this idiot
Yes.
that should have caught at the beginning.
All right,
How did all those people miss that ball?
We got Jake and we got C. Thomas waiting for us in the wings here somewhere. Sorry, it's just been a busy show. Ride. is the
Tommy's
name
a
of the
great
movie.
golfer, by the way. See Thomas Howell, great golfer.
He is?
Yeah. We play in these celebrity things. I don't know why I play. I got a trophy for closest to the car.
Oh, really?
I suck. I suck at golf, but he's really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I
Mention
didn't know
that to him.
that.
He'll be very happy to know that his
You can mention
his
it.
swing is.
You can mention
Oh,
it.
he's going to be on with me. Like I'm still here.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're still here.
All right, Tom.
We're just they're
me out
they're,
already.
they're waiting in the room. Yeah, they're ready. They're in the Zoom room. They're here now.
Oh, look at him.
Oh, look at us. We're all here together.
Jake and C. Thomas. Good to see you guys.
Thank you for having us.
I think that's Jake. And
I'm muted
C
here.
may be muted.
Tommy's got the stash going. He's
So
Great. How about now?
that's a great stash, C. Thomas Al. Hey, good to see you guys. So
What's going on?
well, we were just talking about your golf game and how good it was. Craig Shoemaker
You're
was.
slumming it with Shoe.
Yeah.
what's up? I like that Sam.
How are you, Craig?
I like that Sam Elliott look.
Yeah, man. Everybody wonders when the hell did Ponyboy turn into Sam Elliott?
Yeah, if you could just say beef, it's what's for dinner.
That's right. That's right.
I like the mustache, man.
I like it too. We've been, all right, if we keep going, we're all going to turn gay. So let's just push on here. Men can only talk about another man's mustache for so long before there's a feeling in the loins, you know.
I'm here for it.
I see Thomas Howell. I just watched an old Brat Pack thing. And I know you weren't in the Brat Pack, but you're around and a kind of contemporary and about, happening about the same time and know a lot of the same players. And in the doc, they had some sort of ancillary Brat Packers that weren't official Brat Packers, but sort of Brat Pack adjacent, talking and giving interviews. I found the whole thing fascinating. But did you see it? Any thoughts? And did they approach you?
I have not seen it yet. Of course, I've always been close with Rob Lowe. I was a little bit younger than those guys, believe it or not. Never really spent any time with Andrew McCarthy. So, I've heard that it's a good film. And I just can't believe how many people love the 80s. I mean, I thought it was like one of the worst decades ever. What a shit show that was. And people just absolutely loved the 80s. I mean, the clothes were terrible. The music was terrible. And there was nothing good about it. And people love to go back to the 80s and reminisce. So, back then we didn't have devices. We didn't, we had a few teen magazines and we had films. That's all we had. So there were people that those movies meant a lot to a lot of people growing up. And whether it was, a John Hughes film or something like The Outsiders, it resonated with a lot of people back then.
Yeah, I think the way nostalgia works is no matter how bad it was, and you forgot to mention how bad all the cars were in the 80s. Everything was junk in the 80s. Even Corvettes and Mustangs, even Ferraris were junk in the 80s. Everything turned to shit in the 80s. But once you get far enough away from something, there's some kind of nostalgia that you have for things. And I agree with you. You should have nostalgia for things that were good, not things that were bad. But once you get to a certain age and you get a certain distance, then there's just nostalgia.
Well, parachute pants. They had a lot of crotch room. I missed those. The Gerbots and Caravicis.
Jake and C. Thomas, we're going to take a quick break that I sort of blew past that'll last 10 seconds, and then we'll come right back. We'll talk about this movie, and we'll do that right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Oh, my favorite. Love these guys. Yeah, they're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offers friendly, helpful service and parts knowledge you need to maintain and repair your car. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock and online as well. So they have it in the store. You can buy it online, so you'll never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car. Well, it's easier to do it in your car, or you can bring it in, I guess. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, a brake light fixed, or a quick service? They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help as well. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. Yes, nice people. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in the store online, or you can go in yourself. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, St. Petersburg, Florida. A 47-year-old man with prior convictions for aggravated assault and dealing fentanyl was arrested after assaulting his 37-year-old girlfriend in their car in a Walmart parking lot. The argument leading to the assault was about a Little Debbie honey bun. Definitely not a Jew.
Oh, nice work, Dawson. Jake Allyn and C. Thomas Howell got a movie. It's called Ride, and it is available for rent on Fandango, Home Movies, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and or Plex. That's Plex. Jake, you wrote and directed as well and acted in this film?
Yes, a lot of multi-hyphenates. Yeah, this is a movie. I mean, I'm from Texas, so I've always wanted to make a movie about rodeo, and kind of been wanting to make it my whole life, but we spent about 8 years kind of writing and developing it, and got to meet C. Thomas Howell, and finally got to make it about, I guess, a year and a half ago now in Tennessee.
C. Thomas, you're in Tennessee, right? Full time?
I've just moved to Texas full time, but I spent 4 years in Tennessee. Yes.
Why do you need to go to Texas from Tennessee? I'm not being rhetorical. I just feel like once you leave L.A., you're good. But why why Texas?
I'm praying to God we secede from the rest of the union, man. It's my kind of spot. It's my kind of people. I got a little horse ranch here. I spent my life in big cities like L.A., Atlanta, and Nashville. And now I live in a town with 20,000 people where nobody gives a shit about me. And it just feels good being around kind of the salt of the earth type of folk. You know, I've got a tractor out here and go feed the chickens and get on one of my horses. And it just feels right now.
I hear you. I live in a town of 10 million where no one gives a shit about me. And I include family members as well.
He's surrounded by chickens.
And I know last time we spoke, or one of the times we spoke, because I think the last time we spoke we were backstage hanging out, but you're telling me about growing up in California, but not the California that people think of when they think California. Pretty rural. Your dad did stunts, I think, had some horses, had some land. Like you grew up kind of in LA, but not what people think of LA.
Yeah, I was just outside of LA and raised in a rural environment. You know, my father rode bulls for 10 years for a living and then became a stunt man. Back then, all cowboys were stunt people. Wow. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got into the business. And lingered around LA for well past my time and got out about 10, 11 years ago, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Sounds like your dad had a big mustache.
Yeah.
He rode bulls for 10 years because his car broke down or because he was an actual cowboy? Right.
Yeah, can you imagine? It's sort of crazy to think that there are actually people that want to do that to themselves day in and day out. But, you know, it's a big sport. The PBR is huge.
It is.
The Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association is huge. And you know, when you're in LA, you're not exposed to it very much. But the second you get out of LA, it's everywhere.
Oh, I know. I've been in Vegas when the rodeos come to town, and they take over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of belt buckles. I don't know how you guys feel, because this is bull riding. The movie's about bull riding, and everyone has an experience in it. The guys who wear the hockey helmet on the bull, to me, it's like the condom in porn. I don't know why. I don't know why it ruins it. It shouldn't ruin it.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of myself for saying it ruins it. It's a safety measure, but it kind of screws it up for me.
Because you were programmed when they had that on when you were a kid. They were on the short bus. That's why.
I want that. I want the cowboy hat, or we need some version of a cowboy hat hockey helmet. Where do you guys come down?
It's a new time. It's a new time. And Jake, I'll let him expand because he wore the hockey helmet in the film. But back in my day, we didn't have that. We didn't have safety vests. We didn't have helmets. We just had, you know, a mouthful of tobacco and very few brains, and we went for it. So today, the younger kids are wearing the safety vests and the helmets, and for good reason. I think the bulls, after 80 years of breeding, and the bloodlines have the athleticism in these animals are crazy. And these kids get stepped on constantly. And Jake, he can share with you his perspective because he got on a few for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. As a filmmaker, I hated the helmet because it's just not sexy, especially when you're also taking off the cowboy hat, which is like, that is cowboy. You know, the cowboy hat is so iconic. So we had that. I mean, when we started the movie with Tommy's walk to the chutes, and had to keep that with the cowboy hat. But when it came to just trying to make an authentic rodeo movie, everybody's wearing the helmets now. So had to do it. Had to be done.
It's interesting, the breeding and the bloodlines. I never really thought about that. And they must be sort of what's happening with bulls is probably what's happened with pot. It's so good now because they just bred the shit out of it, and it's so much more potent.
100%.
Right. So
also football.
Yeah, they're not just
they're faster and stronger now, so you have to have better equipment in football. They used to play with leather helmets, so you keep on going.
These are $150,000 animals. You know, they're not just off the back lot from Grandpa's farm.
Yeah, like I guess And I would imagine, and I never really thought about it, but when they talk about taking a thoroughbred and putting the thoroughbred out to stud and just how much that horse is worth after it's done running because of the semen and the reproductive part of it and the bloodline, I imagine someone's making a bunch of money off super mean bulls somewhere, right?
It's huge.
It's a whole
huge market.
Yeah. No, listen, Craig, if the comedy gigs dry up, getting the semen out of a bull.
Oh, I thought you meant me be the stud. I got 4 kids.
No, I meant they're extracting.
They're super athletes.
So what are these things? So now you're saying they're just genetically much more dynamic and athletic than they would have been like in the 70s or back in the day, the bull itself. Is that what we're saying?
Well, yeah. Well, back in the day, you would have the occasional bull, an Oscar, Bodacious. These are famous names throughout history. And there would be one out of, 20 bulls. Today, they're all that way. I mean, every single one of them is pretty much impossible to ride. And there's a lot of BS that goes, from people protesting against rodeo that don't understand the process and the care that goes into these animals. These cowboys are making millions of dollars off of these animals. I mean, literally, they are babied and they have the best medicine, the best feed, and they work for 8 freaking seconds on a Friday night. I mean, how bad can it be?
No, it's true. People don't realize who are complaining about all this stuff all the time.
That's all it takes me is 8 seconds on a Friday
night. Done.
I'm done.
Extraction complete.
Out to pasture.
Yeah, this is their livelihood. This is their investment, and they're going to take care of their investment. And I also wonder, is the bull's bred for athleticism? But is it bred to be mean? Are they meaner than your average bull would be?
It's like people. It goes from bull to bull. Some bulls, the second the cowboy hits the ground, they stop moving. They saunter on back behind the chutes. You can go up to them, give them a nice pet, and everything is great. Some bulls, they'll stomp you into the dirt and hook the holy hell out of you, and you want nothing to do with them.
So this would be like that kind of bull's like if we forced Ellen DeGeneres to mate with David Letterman. How mean that kid would be. So that'd be the ultimate mean host.
That could be nasty.
The meanest of all the hosts.
That could be nasty.
Open up with a dance at the rodeo.
I wouldn't want to watch that porn.
Wow. I might. All right. So, yeah, because I'm from North Hollywood, so I'm a million miles away from the rodeo. It wasn't even a thought when I was a kid. It would come to town. Oh, wait, didn't L.A. Oh God, didn't we boycott it or the city council poo-pooed the rodeo?
I think so.
L.A.
not just
such
rodeo,
pussies.
Adam.
Right.
Adam, all equestrian events, not just rodeo. Like California was wanting to ace the entire equestrian world, which is just absolutely ridiculous considering, our country was founded on horseback.
I do love that the city council's outlawed the rodeo events, but homeless people fighting it out with machetes in Venice Beach, no problema.
But there were some horse mistreatment things that did need to be shut down in Los Angeles.
What was going on?
I think they were overworking them on the trails, and they were hot and dehydrated. They didn't get to see the drink water sign.
Enough. All right. Well, Heather says she's behind.
I'm also from Los Angeles, so I got to stand up for the sad horses. But it's more like, you don't have to make a sweeping generalization. Just treat them better,
Well, my feeling is if you have a business where you rent horses out or you do guides or something like that, I've done that with my daughter. it behooves you to take care of your horses, because if they break down or get sick, then you got to pay for it or you lose money. It doesn't mean you can't mistreat them, but there is a kind of gravity that's in place, just like the rodeo, which is you do need these creatures to perform this function. And if you start mistreating them, you're not going to make money.
Right.
And
Not a good business model.
And Shatner's going to be up your ass. And nobody wants to see a pissed off Bill Shatner. But let's talk.
There's idiots everywhere.
Yes. Agreed. All right.
Yeah, there's idiots everywhere. And nobody likes to see somebody mistreating an animal. I mean, when I see somebody mistreating an animal, I literally want to beat the hell out of them.
Yeah.
But we can't stop these losers from doing what they do. It doesn't reflect upon the entire equestrian community.
That's fair, yeah.
Like reality shows did not reflect on all of Hollywood. Idiots, right?
That's exactly what being a housewife is like.
Exactly. That's my point.
The reality show, I don't know. C. Thomas Howell, you must be. You probably don't like the idea that reality shows have basically taken over our business
for film. Yeah, replace film.
It's replaced everything.
Well, there's something to be said about a good, narrative, but I guess people are into the housewife thing now, right?
Here's my feeling. When they talk about all these murder and true crime podcasts, they're so popular, and then these housewife shows are so popular. They're screaming, they're drunk, they're throwing glasses at each other. I don't think it says a lot about you as an individual where you go, I really like to consume this as a form of entertainment.
Oh, you should at least be ashamed of yourself.
I like to see Botox bitches fighting it out poolside, and I like to hear about people that were abducted and murdered and dismantled. And it's like, what's that kind of say about you? You know what I mean? That you're sitting around. And the people who do it, there's a version where their guys are like, I would like to watch the UFC's greatest compound fractures. You know what I mean? It's like, what does that say about you that you enjoy this?
I like 16 and Pregnant reality show because I watch that and I go, I'm doing okay.
Oh, yeah. You do feel better about
yourself.
Your lot in life. But that also says something.
I think, Jake, what you should do is write the real house horses of rural Texas.
The real house horses.
The real house horses of rural Texas. That
the name alone would sell, man.
Exactly. I think that's next.
It'll be a hit.
Sell that in the room.
So how did you two get together? Did you know each other before the project?
Not quite. I mean,
how did that happen, Jake?
I made a film a couple years ago with my older brother directed it. It was called No Man's Land, and he had met you to talk about that project. And that was also kind of in the modern Western space. And so that was how I came to know that you really had a big rural background. And so that's kind of how I got onto the C. Thomas train. And then I just started watching your work. And then I really loved your arc on Animal Kingdom. I really saw a lot of similarities, with kind of what happened to that character and what was happening to John Hawkins. And then obviously, we shot a bunch of the movie at live rodeos and with real cowboys and on working ranches. So it was just so important to get guys that really knew about that life and could bring a lot of authenticity to it.
Let me give the movie one more plug. Ride, and it is available for rent on Fandango Home Movies, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, or Plex. And not that either one of you is thinking about coming back to L.A. for any reason whatsoever, but if you do, come by and say hi to us in person. Or
Adam, before we go, I had the greatest time with you in Nashville with Larry Gatlin. I have so much respect for you. You just your work as I'll say comedian, but it dumbs it down by saying that.
Craig's a comedian. I don't get lumped in with him.
Thanks a
You're so smart. Yeah, so incredibly smart, and you know, it was such a great night. I really hope to be able to be put in that position with you again somewhere down the road. I had an amazing time with you.
I did too. We had a great conversation, a little bit of whiskey, and a great night. And if, you know, figure it out, get something on the calendar, and any excuse to come down and pay a visit, my friend.
Oh, we're playing Houston.
We're playing Houston.
Adam and I are playing Houston August 23rd. Is that close to you?
Yeah, that's close to me. I'm coming.
Oh, it's we're doing an Unwoke AF tour.
And what's the venue in Houston?
Are you kidding, man?
Yeah. So
it's not unwoke if I'm not there.
What's the venue? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's called Arena Houston. We're there on the 23rd of August, and so you stop by.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'll get a hold of Mike.
Get a hold of Mike. We'll comp your ticket. Your guest will be half price. It'll be awesome.
I'll drag Jake with me. And listen, thank you so much for letting us talk about Ride. Craig, it's been a long time since we hit the golf ball together.
Let's go.
I hope we get to do that again. And Adam, you don't have a bigger fan than me, man. Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Thank you so much, guys. Jake, great seeing you. We'll see you in Houston.
Yeah, man. And nice to meet you.
Okay, man.
Thanks, Thomas. I'll see you there, too.
And I will never see you again.
No, that'll be it.
Let you golf.
All right. What other? So we got Houston, and is there another date?
Yeah,
on there?
Arizona. We got Phoenix at Tapatio Resort. It's a beautiful resort, like really top of the line. I've stayed there before, and we're doing the Unwoke AF tour there.
Wow.
Yes, you're the first to hear it.
Yeah, news to Adam. It's like
I don't
It's
follow.
you, me, and Jeff Dye.
Oh,
Jeff
yeah, he's
Dye's
great.
on the show. Kayvon is on the first show, and then it's just the three of us on the next one in Phoenix. So that's on the 24th of August.
All right. Well, as long as we're doing some plugs, I'm going to be in Eugene, Oregon, at McDonald Theater doing stand-up. That'll be coming up Friday. And then on Saturday, Snoqualmie, I can never pronounce. Snoqualmie Casino. Be doing stand-up there. Heather is going to be over at Kimmel's Club, right? Is that a weekly?
July 25, every other Thursday starting July 25.
Wow.
I'm on late after your show.
Late after me. A lot of my fans will fall asleep, so they'll be in place for
Get some
you.
cocaine, come back.
They'll be there for when you hit the stage.
Okay,
is what
perfect.
I'm saying.
I
Craig,
just finished Kimball's last week. It's awesome.
Yeah.
dates everywhere. You can
Go to CraigShoemaker.com.
CraigShoemaker.com.
And pick up your Unwoke T-shirt, Unwoke AF T-shirt, which I just brought you.
Pick up a T-shirt as well. And until next time, it's Adam for Heather and C. Thomas and Jake and Craig saying mahalo.